So Kyrie was really good in game 1 against the Bucks. 26 points, shot 57% from the field, and was able to do pretty much whatever he wanted. He got to the rim, he pulled up for mid-range, he hit some turnaround jumpers, and the Celtics won game 1, and they were looking pretty good after that one. Hasn't gone the same since for him, and I think a lot of that has been Kyrie. Game 2, he had 9 points. And then in games 3 and 4, he had some Russell Westbrook performances where he had 29 points in this one, but he shot 8 for 22 from the field and had a lot of bad shots. And then in the last game, 23 points, but 7 for 22 from the field, including a hot 14% from 3. So what's going on with Kyrie right now? Well, I think the first thing you got to look at is his shot selection, specifically from the mid-range. He's had quite a lot of shots in these last 3 games where the shot clock is around 10 to 15 seconds left, I guess, and he's just throwing up some contested mid-ranger. And I know that Kyrie is great and he can make these shots, but if we're talking about the least efficient shot that you can attempt in basketball, this is pretty much it. It's killing the momentum of the Celtics offense, and there's just no way you're going to beat a team like Milwaukee with this. Now, credit to the Bucks. Their defense has been good in this series, and I think that is going to be highlighted a lot when we're looking at Kyrie's misses around the rim. But even so, you're just giving them possessions at this point. I mean, you're just letting them get out in transition. You're making it easy on Giannis, and these plays have to go. That's first and foremost. Kyrie needs to just pass the ball out if he's going to attempt some of these bad fadeaway mid-rangers. But I just mentioned his shots at the rim. These have not been the best either for him. So the Bucks defense is built around protecting the paint, right? It's the reason why they gave up the most threes in the league this year, and they were still a great defense because they've decided you're just not going to score on the rim against us. They're just constantly swarming Kyrie. But even then, I think some of these layups are definitely makeable. I mean, you could argue that Kyrie is one of the best finishers in the league. So even then, you have to expect some of these to go in moving forward. But even so, I mean, it's been 3 games. You figure he would have figured it out by now. But maybe it's not all on him. Maybe it's some adjustments that the Celtics could make. Of course, when you're facing Giannis, that's always a tough predicament to try to score when he's around the rim, but I think there are some things we can look at on some of these shots. This one here, I mean, you just pretty much have to make that. Brook Lopez is the last guy there. I expect Kyrie to just make that one. In Game 2, there were quite a few plays where Aaron Baines was killing the spacing. I don't think he's going to play too much moving forward. Kyrie's missing some passes, though. I mean, right here, Rozier is wide open in the corner. Even so, it seems like Kyrie should make that, but he hasn't been making them, so maybe the extra pass is the way to go. Gordon Hayward and Marcus Morris are open, and I'm going to assume Kyrie could see them there. Now, I don't want to say that Kyrie's been completely awful. He has gotten to the line. In Game 4, he shot 12 free throws. He shot 9 free throws in Game 4. He shot 12 in Game 3. So this is something that the Celtics can feel good about going into a must-win Game 5. And maybe the best option is just to try to get this as much as possible. I'm going to guess that with the stakes as high as they are now, it's going to mainly be Kyrie and Horford on the floor. So the spacing will be a little better, could lead to some easier opportunities around the rim for him. But I do think it's a little alarming how Kyrie has gotten to the line so much and he's still been such an inefficient player. And I think it's a call back to those pull-up mid-rangers again. So more of this stuff and less of those pull-ups that are not really helping the team out. Now if we can look at his three-point shooting, this is the one that's the most puzzling because, I mean, some of these are good shots, some of them are not the best in the world, but even so, we've seen Kyrie make shots like this throughout his career, so I don't know what to make of these. They're just not going in, and if they continue to not go in, then the Celtics are going to lose. So I don't even know if there's like a better play call, because some of these are pretty damn open, and they're all in Kyrie's wheelhouse. They're pull-ups in transition. They're him coming off the screen. I mean, this one is basically wide open because Eric Bledsoe just got stuck in quicksand pretty much. This one's a little tougher, and he could have thrown it to Al Horford, so there's definitely room for improvement, but that's always been one of the things with Kyrie that you just have to accept, is he's occasionally going to hoist up some three-pointer that's a little questionable, but he's been able to make them in. Even so, bailing out Brook Lopez with a damn near half-court three is not the best thing in the world either, so Kyrie's shot selection does need to improve a little bit. I also would hope that he doesn't go into hero ball as quickly with the Celtics, which I'm getting the feeling he's been doing a little bit, where the Bucks get out to a lead and then Kyrie says, well, I got to hit some crazy shot to get us back in the game. Of course, there's conversations about whether the Celtics team actually likes Kyrie Irving, and that's something that might get brought up once they get beat by the Bucks, which I think is basically inevitable at this point. But the series is still on, so I guess we'll talk about it. It also doesn't help them and Kyrie that Giannis is unstoppable, because, well, they're just taking the ball in the half court so often. I mean, in this last game, Giannis had 15 baskets, and he also attempted 10 free throws, so that's quite a lot of possessions where Kyrie is not able to get it in transition or anything like that. That's going to make your day a little more difficult. They figured out how to slow him down in Game 1. Ever since then, it really hasn't been the case. I mean, a little bit in Game 2 as well, but these last two, Giannis has figured these guys out. And it's safe to say the Bucks are going to win, but if the Celtics have any chance, it's got to come from Kyrie being awesome. And while we can hope that the ball just starts going in, he can definitely make adjustments with the type of shots that he's attempting.